Well, let's unpack this with Ross Gerber. He is CEO and president of Gerber Kawasaki, joining us from Santa Monica in California. Ross, great to get your analysis on this latest Apple announcement. So let's get straight into it because, of course, the big undercurrent, the main trend we see here is Apple essentially shifting away from those Intel processors and instead moving to an in-house design. What does this mean longer term, specifically for this incremental product upgrade cycle that Apple has been on for a number of years now?
You know, it's interesting because by moving to their own chips, it's a very similar move to what Tesla did with developing their own chips and using their in-house technology and IP to really build better chips than what they're getting from, traditional manufacturers. And that's paying off for Apple now with probably the best laptop they've ever made. And I ordered several of them already for my wife, of course, and me, because it really is a huge upgrade. So these aren't, like revolutionary products or new by any means, but their incremental upgrades continue to get better and better and keep them well ahead of the competition with, I think, the best products on the market.
And what we continue to see is Apple refreshing the product lineup ahead of the holiday season. And at the same time, the American consumer, and I guess you could also say consumers globally, coming out of lockdown, are pretty cashed up. How does it position the business towards year end?
Well, we're super bullish, and we've been adding to our Apple position, not only in my fund, GK, on the New York Stock Exchange, but for my clients as well. And we're long-term Apple shareholders. I've actually owned it my entire life as an adult. And, they continue to deliver. And I think as they refresh their products, we've all used our products tremendously over the last 2 years during COVID. And many of them are beat up, whether it's your iPhone or your MacBook or your iPad. And I just bought the new refreshed iPad, and it was, less than $400, and it's an amazing value. So what Apple's delivering is an amazing product, but also at an amazing value, and we expect them to have an enormous Christmas season. We expect records across the board for Apple in every division that they have, and we're super bullish on what they have in store over the next 6 months.
Do you think, though, that it'll only be a one-quarter bounce? We've seen this before when, of course, Apple has come out with changes to products, and we have, of course, consumers come in and restock, whether or not it's phones, computers, iPads, and the like. And it tends to only be short-lived because once you have a number of consumers come in, buy the products, well, then they're done for a couple of years until they need to upgrade again. Do you think that we'll see that kind of scenario play out this time round?
It's funny you mentioned that, because that, I think, is the scenario that's causing such a huge upgrade cycle, because I'm one of those people where, Apple devices we used to replace, let's say, every year or two. The devices got so good, we started replacing them every 3 or 4 years instead of every 1 or 2. And that kind of slowed down their growth over the last couple of years. And now we got to a point, especially with COVID, where our devices became primary focus of our lives. So now the way we use technology has become a primary, communication and focus of business and basically in entertainment, every element of our lives. So the use of these devices have become much more primary and important in our lives. And that's bodes very well for Apple, that this isn't just another sort of super cycle over a 2-year period that then sort of winds down. I think we've moved to a new era in technology where technology plays such a primary role in the way we work and work from home and so many in mobility, that Apple is now in the best position they've ever been as a company.
Right. How does Apple then rate against its competitors on the back of what we've seen out overnight when it comes to this launch and these tweaked products? How does it fare when you look at it against the Android operating system, against Samsung, even against some of the Chinese technology as well?
Well, I think it really depends what area of the world you live in, because I think people from, Europe and the United States in South America tend to be, iPhone users. And then we see much more adoption of Chinese technology, obviously, in Asia, China, and other markets. So, but I think what really holds through is the ecosystem. So Apple's built an ecosystem, and they continue to invest in the ecosystem, like with Apple TV, in a way that makes their so they've combined incredible hardware, but with an ecosystem and incredible software and security and privacy. And I think that the privacy focus of Apple and making that a primary focus of Apple has built trust in consumers that the other companies don't have, like Android, Samsung, for example. So this angle that they've taken, that we're really the protector of your privacy, and the Apple device is really like your primary personal identifier of who you are, and soon to be your health information and driver's license and eventually your citizenship, and all kinds of information will just be held through your iPhone. But we trust that. And that's what Apple has built that other companies don't have, that is an intrinsic value that is invaluable in an era where our information is stolen constantly from us, is that we feel that Apple protects us. And I think that's going to be incredibly important over time.
Ross, appreciate you as always joining us. Ross Gerber there from Gerber Kawasaki on the Apple story.